Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Adam Foster of Strikeback Sport Fishing Adventures. And on today's Fast Tips video, we're going to talk about fast tips. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the proper selection of rod action. So before I continue on about specifics about rod action, I want to explain exactly what rod action is. When we talk about a fast tip or a slow tip, all that basically means is how fast the parabolic bend happens in the backbone of the rod. For example, with a fast tip, the rod is going to bend faster towards the top of the rod. With a slow tip, the rod is going to bend slower across the backbone of the rod. We're going to get into specific applications for rod action in just a moment. So before we talk about specific rod selection and the action of the rod, I'm going to show you how not to test the action of your rod. And what not to do specifically is use your left hand, grab the top of the rod, and bend it forward to test the action. So I just showed you the wrong way on how to test the action of the rod. Now I'm going to show you the right way. What you want to do is find a carpeted area or the deck of your boat. Lay your rod tip down on the carpet so you don't scratch anything, and allow the weight of the rod and just slightly with your hands to bend the rod itself. What this will do is show you how fast the parabolic bend happens in the rod. For example, with a cranking rod, the bend is going to happen further down the shaft of the rod, and with the worm and jig rod with a fast tip, the bend is going to happen more towards the front of the rod. So when we're talking about specific applications of rod action, what we're talking about is selecting a rod that is going to perform the best for the type of bait that you're trying to use. For example, a moderate or slow action rod is going to be good for crankbaits or spinner baits. While you're retrieving a bait fast through the water, having that slow parabolic bend across the rod causes a very nice cushion when the fish strikes or attacks your lure. Now we get on to the fun stuff. Personally, I like fast tips. I like fast action rods, and I even like extra fast tips. What you want to do with a rod like this is use it in a worm and jig presentation, or even a topwater or jerkbait presentation. What that means is that you're actually using the tip of the rod and the parabolic bend to action or react the bait in a certain way. It also gives you a lot more sensitivity on the tips for when you're trying to feel those subtle bites. So what we've talked about here today is rod action and specific applications for rod action. We covered fast tips and we covered slow tips. Just remember, fast tips for when you're using a bait that you want to feel the action of the lure, and a slow tip for when you're just doing a steady retrieve. If you follow these tips, it is going to put more fish in your boat. Once again, I'm Adam Foster from Strikeback Sport Fishing Adventures. Thank you for tuning in to our Strikeback Fast Tips videos. Check out our YouTube channel at Strikeback Sport Fishing, and check us out on Facebook at Strikeback Sport Fishing Adventures. And just remember, for all of your tournament needs here within Canada, check out fishb1.com. Thank you very much. Enjoy the holidays and strike back. Once again, I'm Adam Foster here with Strikeback Fast Tips. Fuck.